Alright, we're reading more Monogatari as the miraculous miracle marathon scanlation continues. We are now up to 52 chapters that have been scanlated. The last, let's see, 27 of which have been done in the last 16 days. Absolutely absurd. I just cannot get over it. I can't stop talking about it. But now I want to talk about the manga itself. We're reading chapter 35. We've just explained the whole monkey's paw situation to Oshino. Oshino seems a little skeptical, perhaps, at the end of her story. And Kanbaru kind of summarizing here. My first wish of the monkey's paw was, I want to be faster. Chills ran down my spine. Was it really okay to wish for something so worthless? My real wish was the second one. It's probably not worth it, I'm guessing. It definitely has to do with her parents' death. So this is kind of interesting. It almost reminds me of Madoka. In a situation where you just have a wish, that you can wish for anything and do anything, and yet there's also so much despair and suffering around you. It's almost like the first things you think of, the most obvious things, wishing for someone to come back to life or what have you, sometimes aren't quite right. And that small disconnect, that small kind of gap in motive. Ooh, the monkey's paw curse. Parents who died in an accident have come back from the death. This situation played out. I'll just keep quiet, but good God. This like horror magazine representation is pretty funny. And then this one imagined panel depiction of Kanbaru shuddering in fear as her zombified parents pound on the door. This is kind of how he puts it together. This, of course, is a very monkey's paw-esque revelation of what would happen. That you spoke too literally. You just said, I want them back to life. And now their corpses are moaning and groaning all over the place. Even though my 4 classmates were attacked by the monster, it didn't turn into a serious incident. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost their lives. They didn't die from being attacked by that monster. Because Araragi knows if it wasn't for his vampiric powers, his ability to heal himself quickly and to endure a lot of pain, he definitely would have died. He would have been smashed to smithereens just like his poor bicycle. The seals on the monkey paw that were stronger than before, and I hid it deep in my closet. Second and third wish were out of the question. So this isn't the end of the story by any means. Again, these shots of the box with all the really ornate seals on it and the ties and wrappings and stuff on it. I just think it's so fantastic. Like, I'm really impressed with the kind of spot depth of detail in the art of Oh Great. Like, just kind of the contrast and the parallels between Kanbaru's shoe here or her backpack, which again have these kind of like strappy, multi-material, kind of like very intricately bound together type details. And then the box, which is quite similar, but of course is in a totally different aesthetic realm. I think that's really cool. I think just kind of these single shots where this one object contains so much information about its construction. All right, we cut to Kanbaru. Now there were 5. This time I slid into a group of 5 people. So what do you think I did? So she had taken out all of her competitors for the one race with her wish to become faster. The monkey's paw had attacked them. But now, she's up against a group of 5. It's not like they had let her run the heat by herself. That wouldn't have made any sense. I did. What do you think I should have done? Grasping her own face with the grotesque monkey's paw. Such a contrast. She runs. I ran. This is an amazing shot. Kanbaru looking very monkey-esque, I think, in her face here. the big wide eyes and big open mouth, and kind of the prominence of her ear. She runs. She runs. I ran. Ran my heart out day after day, every single day, and worked hard to get faster. The same tragedy would never happen again. Oh my gosh, I love the shot of her running up and down the stairs. That's so cool. With like that winding family circus-esque arrow following her, showing the intricate weaving path she takes around all these people. It's a really cool like depiction of speed and also just kind of the almost like a playfulness and attitude. My hard work paid off, and I got first place in the track meet with no problems. I'm only 3rd grade, and none of the actual girls were working hard for that meet. Fair enough. But what will I do after this? Is monkey's paw effect really that strong? Maybe the effect wore off already. Maybe it'll be 5, 10 years. Maybe for my whole life. If I lose in a foot race, then things will get worse. Or at least that possibility is still open. It's also possible to never ever lose. So this is what drove her. This was the core of her determination. Is that she's really worried that anytime she loses a race and is slower than someone else, the monkey's paw will interpret that as being contrary to her wishes, and thus, to enforce what she had wished upon it, will once again take over her body, and in a strange dream she will beat the living daylights out of everyone who beat her in the race. Well, living daylights, that's not quite appropriate. Living nightlights, because it would happen at night. It's quite a way to live your life. To constantly think that you're on the verge of doing serious harm, doing something unforgivable and irreversible. And the only way to avoid it is to win. Just to win all the time. It's doesn't really remind me. Well, it's not really connected to this, but there's a really good video where it's like a Hungry Box, who's a melee, competitive melee player, makes a deal with the devil that whenever he wins, like 10,000 people die. And the video like sets this up, and then it just keeps cutting the shots of HBox winning, and then just like crying. It's so perfect. It's like it's just a wonderful reinterpretation. Like it's like the Kuleshov effect, where depending on like what scenes, depending on what you see in context with a scene, you'll have a completely different read on what the emotions of the characters are. Like the famous example that gave it its name is that it shows a man kind of like smiling. It's like, and then it showed it with like a shot of soup beforehand, and everyone was like, "Ooh, that man is hungry." Then it showed like a puppy beforehand, and it's like, "Oh, that man is," he's like, "Oh, what a cute puppy." Or then it showed like something like sad or whatever, and it's like, "Oh, he's like trying to put on a brave face, but he's really quite sad." Anyways, sorry, this is a big long tangent, but I think these effects are pretty interesting, and also the idea of like winning or losing being bound to such huge consequences, like a supernatural consequence, I think is quite interesting too. Kind of how that would affect how you played. Shows the space carved out into a rectangle, basically basketball. Here we see a cool schematic of the basketball court. I know all about basketball now. I'm a diehard Toronto Raptors fan. No, I don't really care. I did watch a couple of the games, just circumstantially, just because I happened to be places where they were playing. It's like pretty easy to get caught up in it. You get pretty excited, and then you're like, well, that's over. Inside this boundary, then no matter how small my body is, I can be faster than anyone else. At least it was possible to work my way toward that. I made a decision. I wouldn't lose anyone for the rest of my life. Cool shot of her dunking. Cambrew's even got the dunks. That's insane. She's pretty short. All the sports go by the world around me, that's a simple truth. I'm being motivated by nothing but fear. Ooh, it's pretty cool, and it shows like it's kind of cutting back to the original characterization of Kanbrew, where Araragi is like looking from the outside and kind of summarizing what he sees about Kanbrew and her reputation in the school, and how worlds apart they are, him and her. And now we're getting this kind of other edge, that all along everything she was doing was just motivated out of pure fear, that she was so terrified of what would happen if she lost. Troubles of the Monkey Paw come back again and again. Fight against veterans, the ticket to the Nationals on the line. You need to work hard to get into Naotsu High School. When you got caught off by Senjo Gahara. Ah! So, kind of building first from like a very literal loss. You know, you might lose against this basketball team. To a little more abstract, you might fail to get into your school. To now, even more abstract, but very much relevant to this situation. When you got cut off by Senjo Gahara. Was that to a loss? I love this shot here of the monkey's paw bound shibari bondage. I think that's what this is called, with like the smooth silk ropes. Silk? No, I don't know what they are. Velvet? Does that make sense? It's pretty cool. It's like a very nice metaphor for all the different ways she was kind of bound up by the paw's power. And then yeah, yet again, another crazy shot of Senjo Gahara. Her hair like whipping around in a cyclone. Nuts. Somehow I controlled myself and I did it all. I began playing in order to win. At some point laid out the groundwork for me to become stronger. My mom gave me the monkey's paw for this, for all this. Whenever I found myself in trouble, I could get out of it with my own efforts. This is a really nice shot of her kind of basking in the sentimental glow of her late mother's gift. That I'm sure most of her life she's cursed, but now has come to this kind of beautiful, perhaps inaccurate revelation about it. That like, this is what made me who I am. Like this fear, this constant paranoia has driven me to such greatness. But what could she not achieve? Senjo Gahara's smile. Nothing mattered past that. She had no hope. All the way back home and opened up the monkey's paw box in a fit of panic. Ooh, it had been growing. Is the arm this long? I think it was only to the wrist before. All I remember is up to that point when it came to my arm became a monkey's. I get it. The real reason behind Kamba's stocking. Any kind of change, right? She probably didn't want to go to school with that arm. Ah, she wanted to keep making sure that Hararagi was still alive. She was worried about me, so she came to check on me. Yeah. Last night I ended up seeing a dream. And that's it. And another awesome shot. Smashing the bicycle. You know, it's just earlier in this arc, they've managed to really iconify it. So now we cut back, after this long discussion, to our humble debate grounds, this place of academic logic, to see what Oshino-sensei has to say about all this. Why did you make yourself think that's a monkey's paw? Well, here we go. This is kind of the big twist of the arc, I guess. Well, there's a couple twists, but this is the one that I think is most intentionally deceptive. Everything else is kind of like, oh, like this has implications. This is a little surprising. Kanbaru was the attacker, huh? Kanbaru and Senjo Gahara had this sort of relationship, huh? But it wasn't like anything was being said to the contrary of that. So this part I've always wondered about. Like this seems like such a strange development to me. That Oshino correctly identifies this as not a monkey's paw. And here we have an adorable little monkey clock. Huh? 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 You know about Faust? The guy who washes clothes. I don't understand that. But Faust was a book by a German author about this guy who makes a deal with the devil in order to overcome death. He was like a gifted physician, but he was always agonized by the fact that he could not cure death. So the demon Mephistopheles makes Dr. Faust a deal, and Faust lives to regret it. I don't really remember the details. Yeah, you don't know. I don't really know much about a layman's knowledge, but if you want a summary... Whoa, alright, yep. Yeah. Holy crap, this is an amazing shot. Got the art and aesthetics of what I assume is Mephistopheles here is fantastic. Like, can you imagine this as like a video game enemy or something? It'd be terrifying. And then this like world map, or no, this isn't really a world map. What's going on here? These are like alchemical guides and symbols and stuff. All right, let's dive into Kanbaru's summary of Faust. Masterpiece, written by Goethe. Loved as a script for puppet shows and tragedies for a long time. Even got a heralded film adapted by the great Schwankmajer. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Some really easy to distinguish features. Story told in 2 parts. Faust Part 1 and Faust 2. Finished that way after 60 years. An extremely long masterpiece. I have to bow my head to it. This is writing famous for writing the sorrows of young Werther, elective affinities. The representative work, every person out there would pick Faust. The protagonist is one Dr. Faust. Story about he sold his soul to a demon named Mephistopheles to gain all the knowledge in the world. At least would be good enough for an introduction. Oh, I thought it was that he was trying to overcome death or something. Whatever. Can't talk too much about it because it'll lead to spoilers. Part 1 is a commoner daughter falling in love with Gretchen. Sets to sketch the construction of the ideal monarchy. The common read to read this is not a story of... This is a story of not exactly philosophical thought, but more like the desire for knowledge. Alright, Senpai, I know you... I'm sure you know this already. Phrase known as the Faustian impulse. That's what you call it. Thirst for knowledge. That's where you draw 3 cards and discard 2 unless you discard an artifact? Or something like that? The Magic the Gathering card? To learn and experience everything you can. I wonder why she thinks her senpai, who doesn't even know what Faust was, should know something like a Faustian impulse. Such is the respect Kanbaru has for her senpai. This is such a cool shot, though. Oh, man. Alright. Just the detail put into it. This one 2-page spread with a summary of Faust. And a crazy diagram showing Mephistopheles making his bargain. Easily imagine your long spiel starting right now. So what does this have to do with the monkey's paw? He's like cutting him off. Like monkey's paw is the right arm. This left arm is different. It's the rainy devil. Yes, yes. So this is the big surprise. That it has nothing to do with the monkey's paw short story. It has nothing to do with wishes that come ironically true. It's a whole different bag of worms. Can of worms, bag of something else, bag of magic food. So, it's a bit of a twist. And you gotta wonder, like, we'll see more about the Rainy Devil. I guess we'll talk about it more in the next chapter. When we learn more about the Rainy Devil, we'll try to figure out why Niseosen was so adamant on leading us to believe this was a monkey's paw story, giving us every reason to believe that, and then right near the end, sweeping the rug out from underneath our feet and being like, oh, surprise, it actually just looks like a monkey's paw, like a literal monkey's paw, and aspects of the story you could fit into that sort of structure, but something else entirely is going on here. Why did he do that? So confusing. We will find out.